Assessment. Hi, my name is Sarah Salter and I'm a junior at Alma College. I am working on a degree in educational studies and I have an emphasis on both early childhood and special education. My dream career would be to have a career in applied behavior analysis. Criteria and reference tests are fixed sets of criteria learning standards that are used as measurements of student performance. A formative assessment. This type of assessment is given to students throughout the learning process and is given in a variety of ways so that you really make sure that a student has mastered materials before you move on to bigger and better things. Summative assessments. This, unlike formative assessment, is focusing mainly on the outcome of a program, meaning that it is the end test on a unit. So it is testing what the student can do by themselves in a more standardized setting. Triangulation is used to show credibility and validity to results. So this means that it is a process using different methods to check results in different areas. A Bergantz is a grade placement tool. It is an assessment given to place students in different grades in different subject areas. For instance, the math grade placement is given in the following order. First, you explain to the student what you're going to do, and then you ask the student the question that is written on the test, and you have them test. Once the student has finished the test, you move on to higher and higher grades until that student cannot complete the certain amount of percentage that the test says in that grade level. This is a data sheet that, as you can see, is tracking a student's knowledge throughout the year. As you can see, this particular student in September was lacking skills involving multiplying double-digit numbers and skills with simplifying fractions. As you can see, moving down to May, the student has mastered simplifying fractions and now needs help dividing fractions. Down below, you can see the Bergantz levels in both math and reading. In September, the student was in a 4th grade math and 3rd grade in reading. By May, the student had made it to 5th grade in math and 4th grade in reading. As you can see below that, it tells you the goals in which the student is to complete up to 1 grade level above where they ended off in May, at the end of the year. So the math says by May 7th of 2016, the student will complete math problems at the 6th grade level as measured by the Bergantz, which means that he or she needs to go from the grade level they ended at to 1 grade level higher within the following year. Results on planning instruction. As you saw in the chart below, planning instruction needs to be based on a child's areas of improvement, areas of mastery, and you really need to make sure that you emphasize those for each child. If the data sheets that you make will show you, like I said, the areas that are in need of improvement, a student's level of mastery within each place, and it will show the goals that need to be met within 1 year's amount of time from the end of the year or when the Bergantz was given. Individualized instruction is used to have one-on-one time with a child, which is very helpful in working on their own, with a teacher to help better understand what the students' needs are and what their level of mastery is with each step of something. Here is an example of individualized instruction on a basis used electronically, where you can make the same lesson and give it to each child so they feel like they are getting one-on-one attention with the teacher, but you are able to give it to each child at the same time using iPads or something like that. So here we go. Alright guys, let's go stand on our heads. We're going to learn fractions and we're all going to stand on our heads. That means you, Shauna, and you, Ashton, you're going to stand on your heads. And if you don't want to, then you can go find Ashley and make her stand on her head. So each of you are going to stand on your heads, which means each of you are going to learn how to divide fractions. Remember, to multiply fractions, you go straight across the top. So straight across the top and straight across the bottom. Alright kids, we're moving on. So dividing fractions is simple as pie. What we're going to do is we're going to flip the second and multiply. So we're going to multiply and flip the second. And then we go, just like we did before, straight across the top and straight across the bottom. And that's going to equal Alright, now we got to reduce it. So we're going to go by 2s, by 3s, by 5s. So this time is going to be by a 2. So I'm going to go 1/4. That's going to be your final answer. Everybody say it with me now. Dividing fractions is easy as pie. Flip the second and multiply. Now try this on your own. Remember to do this. So dividing fractions is easy as pie. You flip the second and you multiply. 3 times 3 is 9. 5 times 1 is 5. As you can see, that was individualized because I was talking directly to whomever was watching the video. The biggest experience and knowledge that I gained from this process was definitely giving the Brigance in both reading comprehension and math. For both subject areas, I was able to give the Brigance to 2 different students. Doing this made me realize how different students will react to the test, and it gave me a base knowledge of how I would handle giving the test to a majority of students who all are, as we know, each child is different and each will have a different understanding and a different area on each level of every subject. I was also able, as you just saw, to make an individualized lesson. This was a very good learning tool because I was able to use technology to help myself give one-on-one instruction to students without having to schedule my time to come to each student at that moment in time. Learning difficulties. Teaching reading to students with learning difficulties by Susan C. Is a very good article in which allows you to, this article allows you to have ideas on how to work with students who have learning difficulties. First, you have to have students placed in an individualized reading program. If you do this, it will allow them to grow as a reader and help them have individualized time to flourish in that skill, so we can focus on their individual needs in that specific area, that content area. Another bullet point is that we have to accommodate to their reading program when you have to accommodate to their reading program and intervene. To do this, you have to make sure that you are keeping up with their reading program, and you really have to make sure that they're getting the full use out of that, and you have to make sure you're meeting that specific goal. That way you know that the student is getting what they need in all aspects of their life. Thank you for watching my PowerPoint on assessment.